and it may be hard to sit on the hard floor for a long time. So feel free if you want to stand on the sides. So just feel comfortable. And this special picture was chosen even though the clarity I couldn't find a very high definition picture, because today is Krishna's Pushya Abhishek festival. If you see on the calendar, the Vaishnava calendar, in Purnima today, in Vrindavan they celebrate Pushpa Abhishek for Krishna. So I thought that this was Radhashtami's flower festival that we had here. And it's a nice day to meditate, decorating with the song. You can string as many garlands you want and you can offer to Gopi Jana Vallabha as you're singing this song. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
God Premanandi.
Hari Hari Bol.
Once again, I want to thank you all for coming. On behalf of ISKCON Farmington Hills, I would like to welcome you all for this Sunday Love Feast, as we call it. So today we are here to discuss from this very special book that's called the Manual of Our Human Life that the Lord personally, Gopi Janavallabh, has personally given each one of us. So it's called Bhagavat Gita as it is, and it's translated and purport is written by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada.
Jai.
Jai. So I just want you all to look at this picture really carefully and see how Arjuna, his facial expression is. He is the greatest warrior. He is powerful. He's strong. He's intelligent. And he's capable. Everything that a person can think of to achieve in life, he has all that. He's fully qualified. But the way how he's looking at Krishna, he's like, please help me. That's the look that you could just get the whole meaning of Bhagavad Gita from how he's approaching Krishna. My Lord, please help me. Krishna and Arjuna got friends. None of us go to our friends with that, oh, please help me. We never even say that way. Oh, buddy, could you help me? Maybe that's the way it'll be, the tone would be like straightforward. Come on, help me, I'm in need. Just come and chip it. That's the way we talk with our friends. But here, they are friends. But at this point, there is a certain point in the Gita where he comes to understand that all that I have, all that people think I have, and whatever qualifications is labeled as Arjuna is capable for, is not helping me at this time. I really need help. And who's standing next to me is not just my friend. He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I want to take shelter. He's my Guru. Please accept me. He's in that mood. So that's a beautiful mood that this picture speaks to us. So today we are going to discuss, once I said that this is the manual, maybe everybody will be like, manual means it should be applicable. This was spoken like 5,000 years ago. I am not even having my bow and arrow in my house. I'm not even going to go to the battlefield to fight. Why you people are just talking about this Bhagavad Gita that was 5,000 years ago? I am very current. I don't want any outdated messages. I want everything updated, right? What is current as of now and today. So here comes that this is a timeless message, and we will see in today's class just one verse, how we can understand that and how we can apply it in today's life as of today and now. So that's how the discussion is going to be, and it's going to be from chapter 4, verse 34. So before I start, I really want you all to, there's more visuals, that you have all got this precious human form of life. And if we don't use the manual, this will be the result. So, misuse of the gadgets that we have. So, keeping that in mind, we may never know when we misuse. So, let's see how we can put this human form of life into right use, using the right manual that the Lord has given us. So kindly repeat behind me. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam Anyone like to read it? So we could read behind you.
Tadvidhi pranipatena
Pariprasnena sevaya
Upadekshyanti te jnanam Jnaninas tattvadarshinaha
Tadvidhi pranipatena Pariprasnena sevaya Upadekshyanti te jnanam Jnaninas tattvadarshinaha
Mataji, Vaishnavis, anybody would like to read it?
Tadvidhi pranipatena Pariprasnena sevaya Upadekshyanti te jnanam Jnaninas tattvadarshinaha.
Let's see the translation. By His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki
Jai.
So kindly repeat behind me too. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized souls can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth. So let's see the purport. So the purport, you could see there are the two colors, white and dark yellow. So I'll be reading the white part, so you all will be reading together the yellow part. So let's give it a try. The path of spiritual realization
Is undoubtedly difficult.
The Lord therefore advises us to approach
A bona fide spiritual master in the line of disciple succession from the Lord Himself.
No one can be a bona fide spiritual master
without following
this principle of disciplic succession. The Lord is the original spiritual master, and a person in the disciplic succession can convey
The message of the Lord as it is to His disciple.
No one can be spiritually realized
by manufacturing his own process.
as is the fashion of the foolish pretenders. The Bhagavatam 6.3.19 says, Dharmam tu sakshat Bhagavat pranitam. The path of religion is directly enunciated
By the Lord.
Therefore, mental speculation or dry arguments
One right path.
nor
By independent study of books of knowledge can one progress in spiritual life.
one has to receive the knowledge. Wonderful, thank you so much. So before we enter into discussing this verse further, let's take blessings from all our predecessor acharyas. So whatever we speak is glorifying and is in line with the scriptures and the acharyas. So, Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnanam Janashalakaya Chakshurunvilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanyano Vishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yudhagatamanam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Dham Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Vishtaya Bhutale Srimate Radhanath Swami Niti Namine Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Vishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasana Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. So coming further into discussing this verse. So just wanted to say that the first line itself, Prabhupada cautions us, the path of spiritual realization is undoubtedly difficult. So there he jerks us out, like, don't think it's going to be so easy. So why is he saying that? So that we get more serious about understanding the spiritual master, that we just don't take it for granted that I can just read a book or listen to something on Google or some other sources and I can get enlightened. It's not going to be that easy. Like, even most of us have gone through schooling, colleges, and universities, we have done graduation, we have gone through extensive studies in whatever form we have, and we have enrolled ourselves in colleges and acquired our degrees. So we did go through some kind of formal education, to whatever extent we have, and we followed a path. And that has given us a result. So that was not easy either for us. That itself was kind of difficult. And Prabhupada is cautioning us, this is also not even closely comparing to it. So it's going to be more difficult. That means how much more structured the learning process has to be. That's the point that Srila Prabhupada is trying to bring it to us. So just by picking a book and reading it, it's really nice to start off with. It's really wonderful to pick the spiritual books and read it. But we have to have somebody to guide us. That's the point that Prabhupada is showing us, that you have to enroll yourself in the spiritual college. That's the college. Where is a college that's going to speak about the spirit soul? No. So Srila Prabhupada has come. He has made all these temples all over the world for us to take shelter, for us to enroll in these colleges. So we just don't come, have darshan, there is arti, which every temple has it. That we have it and they're gone. We have Prashadam. That's really wonderful. That's amazing that we get the blessings of the Lord. But how do we understand Him? How do we grow spiritually? So that's where these classes come in, where it comes in the parampara. Anybody doesn't just speak what they feel like speaking, but they're trained in the disciplic succession, as Prabhupada is explaining, a bona fide spiritual master in the line of disciplic succession from the Lord Himself. So it was not something that manufactured in between. Somebody saying what I feel like is right, but what the Lord said. That's how we have the book as Bhagavat Gita as it is. How the Lord meant and what did He feel like saying it. That's what the message is that's being translated. So now that we understand that we have to take shelter, let's see how do we do this process further. So this is a very nice picture I always remember from the day when I came into Krishna consciousness. And this really shook me and made me really feel like, wow. When I saw the grandma, I felt like, oh, she's an old grandmother. What is she doing? She loved to have a parrot. And she loved the parrot that she got a beautiful cage for the parrot. And she was so meticulous. Every day morning, she would clean the cage and polish it and make sure it shines and it's really nice. She was so engrossed in taking care of the cage that she forgot to feed the parrot that was in the cage. And eventually the parrot died. And I was like, who would do that? Who would do that? Not me. I'm not that grandma. But when I reflected, if we on a daily basis, if we take care of this body, all our activities, all our consciousness is centered around taking care of this body, which is also needed because we need this cage to take care of that soul. But if all that is what we are doing on the whole day and whole lifetime, then the soul, that's we, the real we, will not be nourished. So that message is very evident in this picture. Very nicely done, really true. So this picture really shows that the disciplic succession is from the Lord Himself, that it's coming in an unbroken chain, that the message is passed down from the spiritual master, and it comes to the disciple who is ready to inquire from him submissively. So let's see one point from that purport. Seek a guru to show the way, not to sanction your way. I'm like, wow, it's so... It's like sometimes what we say, this is my house, this is my car, and this is my guru. So it has become like a social fashion that having a guru, big picture on the wall, saying that this is all like a social status quo. So no, we don't go to a guru saying that you tell me this. Am I right? We don't say that way. So what was the picture that we saw the first when Arjuna? He said, I don't know, I'm helpless. Please instruct me now that I am your disciple. Now that you all are comfortably seated, kind of comfortably, we don't feel like anything is going to happen here, not any war is going to break out here. I'm kind of fine, life is going okay. What is the point that I have to take shelter? When do we take shelter? When we realize that we are helpless. So on a daily basis, sometimes we don't feel that we're kind of in a comfortable zone. Everything is going on well. God is there, let me go have darshan, everything is nice. So that kind of plateaus there, the devotion kind of plateaus there. So that's where we have to kind of bring back the situations in life. There are some situations in life that really pushes us to take surrender. So let's see what kind of situations that we can't avoid it. We all have it. We have to go through it. There is no way that anyone can escape those situations in life. And what are they? Birth. It's painful for both the baby, the mother, and everybody around. So it's all happy birthday, but till that happy birthday wishes come, it's not that happy actually. So everybody's screaming and yelling and praying to the doctor, please help me, make sure my baby and the mom is safe. We are literally taking shelter of the doctor at that time. So whoever has gone through this process or seen that process or heard about it, we know that it's a process of surrender at that point. So next comes like any kind of disease, it be a little cold or a major disease. We are very helpless. We understand that anything can help us, but please, we seek a higher person and we get kind of shelter from them. That helplessness, the mood of helplessness. And old age, most of us are heading on that way. And many know that it is really a difficult stage, that this is the same person who knew everything, who was strong, who was capable of helping everybody else, but when the old age kicks in, the body is seeking for help. And comes the last, is the death. For sure. We are not the controllers. It clearly says. So all these 4 stages of life, all of us go through it for sure. So we can kind of remind ourselves that at least at the maximum that these things remind us that we have to take shelter of higher power. So that's where we say that we seek a guru to show the way, not to sanction your way. Karpanya dosho bhatas svabhavaha prichami tvam dharma sammudajeta yashreyahasya nishchitam bruhitanme shishyasteham shadimam tvam prapannam. That's the prayer. When you see Arjuna, he's saying, my Lord, please help me. I don't know what to do. I'm helpless. Okay, so moving on to next. So now this personality, the spiritual master, we call him a creative genius. Why do we call him a creative genius? Because as I mentioned before, this message is 5,000 years old, and it's being like, how do I apply it now? So he puts his geniusness there to help us to bridge that gap. How do we apply it? How do we use that knowledge? So let's see. Spiritual teachers present the timeless principles using timely tools. So what kind of timely tools do they use? They use mainstream language. So now that this was in Sanskrit, we needed Srila Prabhupada to translate it in English. Not just that, but explain it further in purport, elaborately what that really means, so that whoever reads it can understand what is Krishna trying to tell Arjuna and to all of us. So mainstream language, terminologies that he's using, and he's using a conceptual framework, how to present it for this day and age. So that's why we call him a creative genius. So here's a nice pastime where during the 1960s when Srila Prabhupada was preaching in America, in the United States, There are many people who are approaching him for the classes, and those who would come for listening to these classes were taking heavy drugs. So that's the realization they had, because they were taking a lot of drugs and they were feeling very high and happy. Those drugs were making them happy. So Srila Prabhupada is giving a class that, the spiritual world is filled with happiness. It's the best place that you can be. It's filled with Chintamani Dham, and it is full of happiness. And they were like, I'm already happy taking these drugs. So Swamiji, what kind of happiness are you talking about? What is that spiritual world? Could you explain us what is it going to be like if we have to go there? And you know what Srila Prabhupada was like? His eyes just widened. And he was like, what a good question this is. This is perfect that you want to know where you want to go. And he knew where his disciples were, where his people of questions they were asking, what kind of knowledge they have at this point. So he said, spiritual world is an ocean of LSD. So what do we hear in Brahma Samhita? Chintamani prakara sarpa sukalpa vriksha laksha vriteshu sudabhera vipalayantam Lakshmi sahasra sadasambhrama sevyamanam Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Is there any LSD word in this? So any kind of, you go to any Sanskrit scholar and ask them if you translate it, there is no LSD in that. So if somebody can say, how can Srila Prabhupada use such kind of words to explain the spiritual world? But he tried to connect this person who was in whatever level he is, so he can understand the spiritual world to his time and place and circumstances. So this is called, he's really the spiritual genius. All our spiritual masters are spiritual genius. They wouldn't have a slide, or when Shukadeva Goswami was giving class, he wouldn't have a slide of iPhone getting broken with a nut, because there was no iPhones at the time. So we are trying to put that more in relevant terms, so we can kind of understand that. So the message of Gita is timeless. But how to understand in this modern age can be revealed only by one who not only knows the truth, but also is
able to understand and apply that knowledge for current day and age.
Perfect. Thank you so much for being with me. So now we knew that we are not this body, we are the soul, and we knew that to know the science of the soul, we have to take shelter of a spiritual master who comes in the disciplic succession. So he's going to show us a path, which we have to follow. And you feel like, really? I have to follow a path? Maybe that's too restrictive. Why should I just follow what he got to say? So let's see what it is all about. So a lost person doesn't just need to desire to go home, but also needs to know the way to go home. So most of us know where our home is right here. Or we could say the GPS and we have our memory to go back to our home, at least over here. But the home that we are talking about, the spiritual world, the Golokdham, we don't even know if it's left or right or above or below. Or is it even within this world, so we call this earth, or is it outside of this? Is it outside of this universe, outside of this galaxy? Where is it? Where am I traveling? Where is the map for it? What kind of equipments and what kind of journey that I have to do to go there? So it's bewildering, the place that we don't even know or remember. So that's where that we need the spiritual master who has seen the truth to show us the path. So Guru provides us guidance that illumines the inner territory based on scriptures. So he doesn't come up and make a map of his own and say that this is where the spiritual world is. He bases his teachings based on the scriptures. The scriptures are called Apaurusheya. Vedas are called Apaurusheya because they emanate from the lotus lips of the Lord himself. And they are not in Apaurusheya means there is no manly intervention. They are directly from the Lord. So that's the knowledge that we are getting. So nobody intervened in between to change it. So we can put our complete faith in it. So at this point we say that Chakshudhan dilo jay janme janme prabhu se divya gyan hriday prakashito prema bhakti jaha hoite avidya vinasha jate vedegai jahara charito. When we sing the Guru Pranam in the morning every day, we sing Chakshudhan dilo jay. Please give me that eyes of knowledge so I can see what you're trying to show me. So every day we pray that spiritual master, please show me the way. Please guide me through this way. And then comes like choosing a particular path may seem restrictive for those who are not aware of their destination. This is really nice. This really struck me because when I heard that if we all want to make our journey back to, we want to visit India, we get our flight tickets and we are in the flight. And as the flight goes halfway up in the air, suddenly we say, oh, I wish I want to move and visit Singapore now. No, sir. You can't go to the pilot and say that I changed my destination. Please turn the flight whichever direction it has to and go to Singapore. He's not going to do it. You have got on the path and you have to land in India, maybe then take your tickets and do your whatever arrangements to go to Singapore. But once you're in the flight is going to take you to the destination that you originally planned. So there is no problem. And there is a problem in our thinking. If I sit in that flight and if I start meditating on Singapore, I'm going to be restless. I'm going to be like, this is not right. Everything is going wrong around me. And I'm not going to be happy in the first place if my destination keeps on changing after I make that commitment. So first thing is we have to make sure, are we sure we want to take a Krishna consciousness in our life?
Jai.
So if our destination is clear and fixed, that's our goal. And then surrendering to the spiritual master in the disciplic succession makes sense. And then taking his prescription in the form of following the path that he's going to show us makes real sense. And let's see that. But once the destination is finalized, sticking to a path is not restrictive, but it is productive. That's going to bring us to our destination, what we wanted to go, where we wanted to go in the first place. I hope you're all with me.
Yes.
Okay. So I just read the first half of the Bhagavat, where Prabhupada is mentioning about how this journey is very difficult and we have to take shelter of the spiritual master. And he has to be in the bona fide sampradaya. That's the points that we discussed. Now in the next half of the Bhagavat, he's going to say, what should be our mood? How should we be prepared for this approach to the spiritual master? So let's follow the same way of reading. Satisfaction of the self-realized spiritual master is the secret of advancement in spiritual life. Inquiries and submission
Constitute the proper combination for spiritual understanding.
Unless there is submission and service, inquiries from the learned spiritual master
Will not be effective.
one must be able,
To pass the test of the spiritual master.
and when he sees,
The genuine desire of the disciple.
he automatically blesses the disciple with genuine spiritual understanding. In this verse, both
Blind following and absurd inquiries are condemned.
not only should one
Hear submissively
from the spiritual master, but one must also get
the
a
clear understanding from him.
in submission and service and inquiries. A bona fide spiritual master is by nature.
Very kind towards the disciple.
Therefore, when the student is submissive and
He is always ready to render service.
the reciprocation of knowledge and inquiries becomes
Perfect.
so clear, so clear. So coming to the point that devotion blossoms in a personal culture. So again, this point is being emphasized over and over again because our mind, with this technology and the kind of knowledge that we have, the information that we have in our fingertips, makes us feel always like, why do I need a person in between me and God? Sometimes we all acknowledge Bhagavan, He is the Supreme. But what is this person in between God to do between me and God? I don't need him, that middle person. We don't like that middle person somehow due to our conditioning. That question always keeps coming. Surrender. All these words are very heavy, like kind of demanding from me. So that personal person, how important it is. Let's see that a little bit more. So this is prayer. This is a very vast topic about the qualities of a guru or a spiritual master. I'm not going to go in depth into it, but just to tell you how merciful he is. He's not like any other teacher who feels like, oh, my student, I can teach him, but I don't want him to excel above me. That's not the attitude that a spiritual master has. So since in our conditioning and in our life that we come across people who would like to teach us, but they don't want us to excel above them, we put that same understanding to the spiritual life too when we see the spiritual masters. So, but the spiritual masters are not like of those teachers who cheated us or did not give the full knowledge or didn't want us to excel about them. So just to make that point more clear, here Prahlad Maharaj, he's praying to Lord Nrsimhadev and he's saying, Evam janam nipaditam prabhavahi kupe kama vikama manuyah prapatan prasangat kritvat masat surashina bhagavan grihita soham katam nu vishajeta vavritya sevam. And the translation goes like, my dear Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, because of my association with material desires, one after another, I was gradually falling into a blind well full of snakes, following the general populace. But your servant, Narada Muni, kindly accepted me as his disciple and instructed me how to achieve this transcendental position. Therefore, my first duty is to serve him. How could I leave his service? This little boy, 5-year-old Prahlad, he's feeling how much grateful to Narada Muni. And when you read this purport in Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada translates Kritva Masat. Let's see this word, amazing word. Causing me to acquire spiritual qualities like himself. How wonderful. So the spiritual master wants his disciple to be like himself or even better than him. That's the mood of the person that we are talking about. That's the kind of spiritual master that we want to take shelter from. So our whole concept of whatever we had has fully changed now. Wow, how wonderful we have these kind of spiritual masters among us. So let's see in our in Sri Sampradaya, this famous Acharya Ramanujacharya, most of you know him, and he had this exemplary disciple called Kuresh. He was exemplary in all ways, how a disciple can be the best. He was that kind of a best disciple. And he was getting aged and he was getting old. And he was such a disciple that he could directly speak to the Lord, and the Lord will speak back to him. And still he was the disciple of Ramanujacharya. Just imagine if we could speak directly to Gopi Chandavallabha, we would say, oh, what are you doing here? I'll deal with him directly. I'll talk to the Lord. So this was the person, Kuresh, who could speak directly to Ranganath and Varadaraj. And he was a leading disciple of Ramanujacharya. And when he was getting old, he felt that I'm so old that I'm not able to serve my spiritual master well. What is the need for being in this body which is not of use to my spiritual master? So I want to go back to Godhead. I want to finish my earthly time. So he goes to Ranganath and he says these things to the Lord. My Lord, I want to be done because I'm of no use in this body. Is getting old and it's of no use to the spiritual master. And the Lord was not really convinced. Really? Is that the reason that you want to go back and you want to leave your body? And he says, also I read from the scriptures that my spiritual master wrote that I can go up and prepare for him when he comes. I want to join the welcome team over there. So he put it in such a nice way that the Lord's heart melted. And he said, yes, I grant you this boon that you are ready to go back to Vaikuntha right now. And not just that, all that who are associated with you also get to go back. That was like an added bonus blessing he got. And everybody in Sri Rangam heard this and they started crying. They can't imagine living without Kuresh around, Kuratarban without him. So they cried and they lamented and they didn't know how to stop him from doing this because the Lord has granted it. The boon is already given. So they all ran to Ramanujacharya because they knew that if he says that, the Acharya says, then Kuresh will take back his boon or it may not happen. So they all ran to Ramanujacharya and they said, Acharya, do you know what happened today in the temple? Kuresh went and he asked the Lord that he wants to leave his body, and the Lord granted it. And you know what? The Lord said, whoever is associated with him is also going to be liberated. And Ramanujacharya's eyes just widened and he started jumping and he happily, yes, yes. And he was madman. He was running and happy and jumping in happiness. And everybody was like, really? We came here thinking he's going to stop all these things from happening. And he's jumping in happiness here. What is happening? They couldn't understand did he hear the right things what we said? And then Ramanujacharya said, oh, the last thing that you said? The Lord said, whoever is associated with Kuresh will also be liberated. I am associated with him as his guru, so I will also be liberated. So he really meant it. He really felt it in his heart that he never felt that I am your superior. He just took it as his service, that I am here to serve you in the position of the Guru. So how beautiful is this exchange between the disciple and the spiritual master? How much more happy it can become, this relationship. Let's see further. Coming to Srila Prabhupada. It's an ocean of mercy here in front of us. What can me being so insignificant speak about such a great Acharya, Srila Prabhupada? At the age of 70, like I'm not even half his age, and I have all the problems that it comes up with, all the bodily issues. But at the age of 70, he has not even seen snow. We moved from Florida, and yesterday we were showering, and we said, not a good choice. It was real pain doing that. And he has not seen the snow in his life too. And at 70, he moved in a cargo ship, not in any comfortable flight. And he comes just to give this message of Lord to us. And when we go to India or when we come here, we already email all our friends, I'm coming, please come for pickup. If nobody comes, there is something called as all these taxis that are available that we can pre-book and we can go to our destination. It's not that hard. He had no one when he landed. He didn't know to turn left or right. When you read the Lilamrita of Srila Prabhupada, it's so touching. How much more merciful can a person be? He has traveled from the comfort of Vrindavan, left that place of happiness, and he has come to this world where he wants to give the love of Krishna to each one of us. How much more love can we get? And he just did not come and do that. Like today we have a Sunday Love Feast. This was started by our Acharya Srila Prabhupada. How he named it, Sunday Love Feast. He came, he cleaned the apartment, the place that he was going to give the class. He cooked for everybody. He did the aarti himself. He sat and gave the class. And then he fed everybody the prasadam. They ate and they left. He took the plates and cleaned them and washed the whole place at the age of 70 and plus. Can we even imagine anything closer to that? What more mercy? What more mercy? It's freely available. The mercy was it's still freely available. And he just slept 3 or 4 hours a day. That's it. He translated and translated all the scriptures in the language called English that we are speaking today, so that we all can understand. Everyone can understand that's approachable, that we can approach these scriptures. So emotional, this part, like Srila Prabhupada's mercy is like every one of us have to read Lilamrita, so we know what this personality has done for us. That we have this university that we are sitting, that's totally free, and not just free, is going to feed us completely, satisfy our souls, take care of this body, everything in the whole package. He has built a house for the whole world to live, completely free. So we are very, very thankful to Srila Prabhupada. That's the spiritual master we are talking about. And all his disciples, amazing disciples that we all have, that they have given us the connection to the Parampara. Each one we can just go on for classes, the kind of mercy that they share with us. Just to give you a quick example. Sorry. One of us who is along here, they were a couple. And the day of Diksha, the initiation came. And the spiritual master, they have hundreds of disciples taking initiation on that day. And the Guru Maharaj was sitting on the Vyasasana and he was meditating on the names that he's going to give for each of the disciples. And this disciple was a very dear devotee of Lord Ranganath. He was in love with Lord Ranganath that he was praying, I'm going to be the servant, I'm going to get the name Das or Dasi. But I would love to be a servant of Lord Ranganath. That was his innermost desire that he never shared with anyone. And his good wife, she was a very loving devotee of Radharani. And she was thinking, I wish I'd get a name of Radharani so I could be a Dasi of Radharani. Now you can talk, Maharaj is sitting here on the Vyasasana and they are sitting right there ready to take Diksha from him. They're going to get the holy name and the spiritual name being given. So when they came to take initiation, Maharaj said, now your name will be Ranganath Govindadas. Hari Bol! Here we have Prabhu. What a great... So the connection is not at the bodily level. And Mataji came and she got Radheshwari Gopika Devidasi. We know how wonderful these two devotees are, how dedicated and the service that they do to the temple. But I'm trying to say that the connection between the disciple and the spiritual master is not based on this physical body. It's beyond that. It's the soul's connection. So please understand, do not see the external form and get bewildered. So the connection is very deep. We don't have to speak. It's that love language between the hearts. So they talk at that level. And most of the times we as disciples, we say that, oh, my spiritual master, just his eyes pierces into my heart. I feel very nervous in front of him. Why? We are nervous because of we see our impurities. But they are so merciful, they don't see the impurities. They just try to find in that impurities, is there any good thing this person has that he can flame and make it better. So he's searching for the goodness. He's not a fault finder. So let's not put our spiritual masters in that category of fault finders. He's just trying to find the good in each one of us and bring that out from us. So the best proof is when we are around our spiritual masters or spiritual people, we are happy naturally. There is no need for a joke. There is no need for a humor. Souls are happy because of his aura and the matter that he's sharing about the Lord. So moving further, I know there are many pastimes like this we can share of our spiritual masters. So I encourage each one of you, those of your friends whom you know have taken Diksha or initiation, please spend some time talking to them so that they can share all these extra mercy of that connection, heart-to-heart connections they had. They can share it with you, and then your faith also will develop in certain ways to that. Okay. So when I said the personal culture, we see that the Lord is personal. He's happy with his friends Gopas and Gopis around, and similarly Srila Prabhupada, we could see the picture when all the disciples are around and they are having that happy time discussing the glories of the Lord. So the person is very important. There is no abstract love. We are talking in real terms. Gopi Jana Vallabha is real. We all are also real. So we need a personal guru to guide us. So let's keep that in mind. A person who is present, who is able to guide us, is the one whom we should take shelter of as a guru who comes in the discipling succession. So we saw so much about how merciful and compassionate a guru is. So let's see that. Now, what should the qualities of a disciple be? How should we be so that what kind of qualifications we should have, or if we don't have, what should we aspire for to take that shelter? So moving further, like if you have enrolled yourself in any kind of colleges, they also have what is your pre-qualifications to enroll for this category. So even if you want to become a doctor or you want to be an engineer or whichever category, they have a pre-qualification. So to become a Vaishnava, to become a devotee, what kind of qualifications we need to have? We should start looking at that too, which is very important. This is a good question. So we discussed about Ramanujacharya and his disciple, the illustrious disciple Quresh. His son was Parashara Bhatta, and he was named by Ramanujacharya. That personality is an amazing acharya who came in line of Sri Sampradaya. So Parashara Bhatta had another disciple who came to the Guru and said that, my Gurudev, I really want to know who is a Vaishnava. What kind of qualities does he have? How does he behave? How do I understand this? So Parashara Bhatta felt so happy. What a question. This is the right question that a disciple should be asking. And he said that I'm so happy that you have come asking this question. But the right person to give the answer is another exalted person named Anantacharya. He lives in Tirumala Hills. So please go to him and you inquire from him the same question, and he will give you the right answer that you're looking for. And the disciple was like, wow, my first thing is my Guru Maharaj is so happy with my question, and he's giving me the direction where should I go get the answer from. So he happily started traveling from Sri Rangam to Tirumala Hills. And in those days it's still far and it's not that easy to travel. So he made that difficult journey from Sri Rangam to Tirupati. And he went there and he went and submitted himself to Anantacharya. He's also a great devotee of Lord Balaji and an acharya. And he said that I'm coming from Sri Langam, and Parashara Bhatta, my spiritual master, has sent me. I had this question of what are the qualities of a Vaishnava, or how does he behave? And Anantacharya felt, oh, this is very nice. You have traveled a long way. Why don't you have darshan of Balaji? And there are many festivals coming. We will discuss eventually these topics. So he didn't say the answer right away. So a few months, days, weeks, months went away, and this disciple was thinking, did I ask a very complicated question, or am I not qualified to receive the answer? That I didn't get an answer yet. So maybe it's my bad time. He felt bad about it, but he was happy. There are so much festivals happening in Tirumala. So he was engaged in the devotional service, and one day there was this big festival there, where after the festival they were serving prasadam for all the devotees there. And this devotee also sat in the line to receive the prasadam of the Lord. And Anantacharya just happened to walk by, and he saw that the disciple was sitting in the line. He just walked to him and he said, would you not mind would you get up and serve all the Vaishnavas and then take the prasadam? He was so happy. He jumped out of his seat and he said, yes, sure, Acharyaji, I will really do it. I'll be happy to serve the devotees. He sprung up with all happiness. Just imagine ourselves in the line sitting down for prasadam. If somebody's going to come up and say, get up, serve and come back, and we'll be like, first let me finish. And then maybe do it. But the attitude of this devotee was like, I'm so happy to serve. And he sprung up and he said, I'll do it. And he served every single devotee who came for this festival. He finished serving everyone. And then at the end, he was the last one to honor the prasadam. And when Anantacharya was watching all this, he was so happy just looking at this person. And he said, come, now I want to answer your question. And this disciple was like, really? And he felt like his belly was full after prasadam, and now his heart is going to be full because he's going to hear the answer for which he traveled and he waited this long. And when he said, this is in Tamil, I will translate it. So he said, a disciple is like, kokkai pol iruppan, koriyai pol iruppan, uppai pol iruppan, ummai pol iruppan. So the first thing is, kokkai pol iruppan, he will be like a crane. So the answer is like, a devotee is like a crane, like a hen, like salt, and like you. That's it. Huh? Really? And this person was kind of happy that he got an answer, but kind of like, I didn't really understand his answer. So he came back all the way from Tirumala back to Parashara Muni and Parashara Bhatta and Sri Lanka, and he said, I got the answer, but I don't understand how to apply this or what does it mean in my life. And Parashara Bhatta said, can you explain the whole thing? And he said the whole thing, and he said, wow, what an answer, amazing, amazing. Only Anantacharya can give such an answer. And he said, now let me explain you what does that mean. So let's start with knowing what that is. I hope you all also want to know what it is, right? So it's because it's all us, it's all about us now. What is the pre-qualification that we need? So first thing is crane. That kokkai koluripan, he will be like a crane. So the crane, as you see in the picture, it stands in the water for hours together. And it keeps looking very seriously for its prey. But it lets all the little fishes go. And it will right time when the big fish comes, it will just grab it. And it will even stand in one leg like as if it's meditating to get that big fish. So that's the quality of a Vaishnava, that he will let all the mundane talk. Every day there is so much talks going around us. It's not of any big importance to us. We should just let it go, not make that it should not affect our soul. But when the spiritual topics like that big fish is being heard or being spoken somewhere, we rush to that, to take full advantage of it. That's the quality of the crane. And also the crane symbolizes its white in color, purity. So a disciple is pure. He's not dual, like acting something outside and inside. So he's pure. His pure nature spreads around, the purity. So coming next to the point of a hen. So Korye Polarapan, he'll be like a hen. So in the hen, even if it's a dirty place, it also makes sure that it picks the grains from the dirty place. So we live in a place, it can be dirty, kind of dirty with all the information that's all around, that's not needed. But we can be selective, and the word that is used is called Saragrahi. That means the essence seeker. So a disciple is an essence seeker. seeker, like that hen. And coming to the next one is the salt. The salt in any preparation, Matajis, we all cook, and Prabhu's also cook nowadays. So we know that any preparation we do, if it has everything in perfect, but the salt is missing, it doesn't taste good. The salt brings out the taste, but nobody after having the feast, we say that salt was perfect. None of us say that. We don't even acknowledge the presence of the salt. That's the quality of a Vaishnava, that he does all the service and does not seek recognition for what he does. So kind of stays in the background. And the last one is like Ummai Polaripan, he will be like you. That means that disciple who went to ask that question, he sprung up with happiness when service was given to him. So that's the mood of a disciple, that he's always ready for devotional service. So this encompasses the qualities of a Vaishnava, that is we all of us. And you all have these qualities, and please help each other to bring this out more. So to summarize the whole class today, so we are ready to receive the mercy, and we want to take shelter of the spiritual master. So how do we attract his grace? So His Grace Chaitanya Charya Prabhu, who is a spiritual scientist, he has this Gita daily website, and he puts this acronym called HIS, H-I-S. So each one stands for humbleness, that is paripadena, pranipadena, so that enables Guru to show us the path. I don't know the way, you do, please be my guide. That's the humility part. If we have that, and then we inquire, pariprashnena. Even Krishna in the whole sentence, he puts paripadena, then pariprashnena sevaya. So inquisitiveness, that is, enables us to start seeing the path ourselves. So developing our capacity for spiritual perception, and then comes the service that enables us to move along the path. How beautiful we can remember this whole verse as humbleness, inquisitive service. Pranipadena pariprashnena sevaya. When we have this, what happens next? We got the torch of knowledge. We could see the way, where we have to go. The destination is seen. But when we do this travel, it's so hard. If you are by yourself and you still have the torch of knowledge, but you're lost, you can feel the fear of going alone in a lonely path. But when you have this, everybody is there with their torches. We can let the whole world. So it's the association of devotees that's amazingly important. That our togetherness. So that is what each and every spiritual master wants his disciples to cooperate. See the good in each other and cooperate in this spiritual journey. So I have two messages for those who are serious and who have made their destination to go back to Godhead in this lifetime, and you want to enroll in your university. What does it say? If somebody could read that for me. Can you see it?
If one is actually serious about understanding supernatural, transcendental subject matters, one must approach a bona fide spiritual master who is erudite and free from material desires. From Mundaka Upanishad 1-12.
So this is the first instruction for those who are going to enroll in the University of Spiritual Science. And the second one for those who have already enrolled and taken surrendered their lives to the spiritual master. This is scary to see. And I'm showing you a picture of Ravana and Kumbhakarna. Just to tell you that these brothers, they were like, Kumbhakarna especially, his nature was very pious and he knew the truth. And when he was called for the war, he knew that Lord Ram is going to kill him, and he is Lord, and we should not be fighting. He gives actually advice to Ravana, saying that, what you did, please return Mother Sita, we will be defeated. But Ravana did not agree on that. He said, no, he was fixed, he's going on the war, and he already started the war. So, but the love that Kumbhakarna had for Ravana, he went to the war. So if just demon brothers can have so much love, what can be the God family, the God brothers and God sisters? How much love should we have for each other? So we need examples too, right? We always need examples. So let's see that. Who's this? Krishna and Sudama. They were having happy times when they were in their Gurukul times with Sandipani Muni's ashram. But one day, their spiritual master gave an instruction. Please fetch some wood for fire. So they did go. and it was raining heavily. And what did they do? This picture speaks volumes. One hand, they are holding each other. And what do they have in the other hand? They have the sticks that they collected, the firewood for the sacrifice. So that's the instruction of our spiritual master. That's the mission of our spiritual master. We do not give up the mission. And at the same time, we hold hands with each other. We are there for each other. And we travel this journey happily. Right?
Very well.
So we can do that. We have examples here. Real friends are those that protect your devotion. They are there for you during your weakest moments. Very special. And I really want to thank each one of you here for being there for each other. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for your time and attention. Let's all chant Hare Krishna and be happy. So it's time for Aarti. I was hoping that if I finished the class a little earlier, I was going to ask you to share your experience of enrolling in this College of Spiritual Science. But you could all do that during the Prasadam time with each other to share how this university is benefiting you in your growth in your spiritual science. Thank you. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada.